All right, today is June 20th, 2020. You're with the Quirk Tarts, episode 2, featuring Romcom Kitten, aka Faye J, and T Nasty. We are back on it. Just as a disclaimer, the Quirk Tarts is an adults only podcast, so listener discretion is advised. If you have crumb snatchers, if you have children, put them to bed. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. African proverb. This is a grown vaginas only situation. So just throwing it out there. How you doing, T Nasty? What you got going on in the world?
I'm good. I'm a little drained. I don't know if I'm drained from like social media and like everything going on in the world or just quarantine drained, but yeah, I'm excited to talk about all things K-pop though.
All
What about
things
you? How are
K-pop.
you?
I'm also a little bit tired, but my tiredness has been from the turn up the past couple of days. So my
Yes, it was
folks,
Juneteenth
yes,
yesterday.
yes, yes, yesterday, June 19th. My family and I have a long tradition since I was a kid from celebrating Juneteenth. So it was just
That's
always
dope.
a part of like my household. And, when my sister and I became adults, like we continued that tradition. So we cook, we tell stories, we drink, we remember our ancestors and pour libations and do all of that for our cultural memory. And like also, though we have fun and we turn up, it is also like a bittersweet day as well because Black folks in America specifically are still fighting for freedoms. And like, I don't need to beat anybody over the head with that. Like, that's not necessarily the topic of this episode of the podcast, but like, yes, it is a commemoration day. It is thought of as, Black Independence Day, and Black folks still aren't completely free. And like,
Okay.
that's just the real. But like, yeah, we ate, we turned up. I was hungover until about 4 o'clock Central Time today, and it's about 10 o'clock right now. So I'm just now coming back to life. But one of the cool things that came out of Juneteenth, in addition to eating and drinking too much, is that Queen Mother Beyonce came out with a Southern classic for us.
Yes, I hadn't gotten a chance to listen to it. Did you?
Yes, yes, yes. So it's
What
called
did you
Black.
think?
It's called Black Parade, and I was like, Black Parade. Okay, it's probably gonna have like some marching band type stuff in it. Maybe some of that type of sound. Maybe some of that like New Orleans, like big band type of sound, something like that. And like I was kind of right, and I was kind of wrong. It had a mixture of many different like Black diaspora sounds, and it was very like catchy. It's a bop, but it also is saying some deep like cultural memory type stuff too, that you kind
Okay.
of gotta be like Black girl magic to like fully get it, but also it's still just like a bop too in general. So if you don't fully get it, you'll still be like, okay, yeah, she did that. So like I liked it. I feel like Beyonce got more bars than some of y'all favorite rappers these days. Like, just saying, like, I'm here for it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a
I'm
vibe.
gonna have to listen to that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
listen to that. Yeah,
Um,
I saw it on Instagram, and I thought to myself to look it up, but hadn't got a chance to.
you gotta
Yeah,
listen
what up?
to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of bops, also, I still am listening to Baekhyun's album. Like, I liked the
How many
single
tracks does he have?
Candy. I want to say there's like 9 tracks on that. It's like
Okay.
8 or 9. And honestly, like I like the whole thing. I have not skipped a single song. Like
Okay.
when I listen to it straight through. I
That was
think,
called The Light.
yeah, it's called Delight. Delight, the mini album. It came out just like right at the end of last month, at the end of May. And like I've been listening to it consistently like the past couple of days, like listening to not just the beats, but also the translations. Like, yeah, I know, of course, I'm not a native speaker, but like I think I can really appreciate the project for what it is. I think that one of the things that's cool about him is that he has talent, but he also doesn't overdo it, and he doesn't like
Mm,
bend over backwards to try to look cool or try to
mm-hmm.
look edgy. Like he's not in his video Candy with a
Just
head
trying too
full of
hard.
faux locks or nothing. Oops, I'm sorry. But like we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. Some of our faves are notorious for trying a little bit too hard, and like he's not out here doing that. He's just singing and like letting his talent and his producers kind of like,
Speak for itself.
yeah, speak for itself. So I like that. I still been listening to that. Did you get a chance to listen to 17 or Wavy's new stuff?
I did. So 17, I like unless it's like a total like bop, it never sticks in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like I never go back to it. I listened to it once and it's no shade whatsoever, but like it never catches on for me. What about you?
Yeah, I feel the same way. And 17 stands like, please don't come after us. Like, we are not trying to dish y'all boys. Like,
The
I think,
personal taste kind of
right,
thing,
like,
I'm
I
sure.
think they are super talented, super cute. They have hits
Yeah.
that people like. I'm just saying, for me, it doesn't necessarily slap hard enough for me to be like, ooh, 17 going in. Like,
So I
at
heard
least not this one, like the new music that I have heard. It didn't do it for
I
me.
might be getting this wrong, but I heard that there was some sort of music, it might be like music core or something. Like they since 17 is kind of under the big hit umbrella now, along with like
Mm-hmm.
other groups that are under the big hit because BTS did not attend the like music core end of the year show last year because they were at Times Square doing that show.
Mm-hmm.
That music core is not showing, like not allowing these other groups like 17. What's the other girl group that um, oh G Friend and TXT, like they're not like letting them on their shows. Is like what I
Hmm.
heard.
Interesting.
But yeah, like I don't know. I feel like I usually like Seventeen's production in terms of like their music videos, and then the last one was pretty
Mm-hmm.
good too. But the
Mm-hmm.
song itself, like I can't say that
Mm-hmm.
I can't even hum the melody.
Mm-hmm. I did like the video. I did like the visuals.
Yeah,
That's
the
one thing I
video's
will say.
nice. Yeah,
Like usually what I try to do is listen to the music first and like
right,
look at the translations first and
right.
then watch the video, because sometimes the videos can make you think you like the song more
That's
than you
true. That's
actually
true.
do. And I feel like the NCT squads, like the NCT groups, are notorious for that. Like they'll
hmm
come out with like some outlandish videos with like a whole bunch of visuals. You like, dang, they look good. Like they cool. They out here. But then you listen to the song and it's like, wait a minute,
Wait, wait, this is
this song, kick
the
it, kick it,
the video hypes you up. The video definitely hypes you up.
kick it was way too much. Like
I'm not gonna lie, I still listen to Kick It.
kick it was way too much. I was like, what is going
I
on?
didn't like it at first, but it somehow
Yeah.
grew on me like like an extra limb. I still have it on rotation.
I also feel like I like one of the NCT squads better than the other ones.
Oh, for sure.
And
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
want to say it's NCT Dream that I
Oh,
like
really?
the most.
They had something come out recently.
Yes, yes, yes. Like I listened to both projects that came out recently, like pretty much straight through, and I feel like NCT Dreams album was the one that I ended up liking more.
Really? That's
Um
interesting. I think I like 127
Let me see.
because I like
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
classic.
yes. That's the one. Dream. That's the one. I feel like
Yeah.
I've been leaning towards more, or at least I liked their new music more. Like the one that came
Mm,
out at the end of April. It just had like a few songs on there. It was maybe
yeah.
like 5 or 6 songs, but I actually like those. Um,
I think
I feel like
I'm
their
very
videos are not as good though.
that yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So
For
like,
I think I like 127 better because of their old bops, like the
uh
bops they
huh.
had before, and like I feel
Agree.
like they're a little bit more on the hip hop
Mm.
trappy
Hmm.
side.
And that's one of the reasons why I was like rooting for Wavy. Like I was like, okay, they had a strong start.
Yeah,
Like I'm telling you, like Love Talk is like
that's the song.
that's like my
They can
C-pop.
remix that over and over and over
Look,
again.
that is like my C-pop Cash Money repping for the 99 and the 2000. Like when I hear Love Talk, I'm rushing and I'm gonna drop it. Like period. Like I can hear it call it. What you know about that? That is my song to this day. So I was
Man, that music video.
look. I was excited about their new music and their new like video and stuff that just came out, and
Doesn't compare.
I was
Does
like,
not
that's
compare.
all. I was like, that's all y'all. Like, no offense, because it's spectacular. They had a budget for this video. I'm like, where y'all getting this
Yeah.
money from? But I feel like the song, the music just didn't slap the way that I wanted it to. Like, I listened to the album straight through and I was like, there was nothing. And I was just like, dang, like, that hits. Like, it just
Yeah.
didn't hit the way some of their earlier stuff hit. Like, I really did like Moonwalk. Like Moonwalk is still my song too.
There's something about I feel like that happens to a lot of groups. It's like they make such a strong debut
Mm,
and then like the sequel just kind of falls a tad short.
it's like the debut
Yeah.
curse.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they
I
in
feel like
straight
it's
boot camp for
I love
this.
ATs, but like I feel like ATs kind of struggled through that. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Stray Kids, I also really like Stray Kids,
Yeah, I like Stray Kids too. They kind of have a
but
different sound.
they do. Which was
Yeah.
not their new song. That's what they're about. I think that's what the lyrics are about. It's just like we're cooking up something new for you. Like
Uh, um.
but yes, Stray Kids new stuff like is good, but like I don't think it compares to the earlier stuff. They had
Mm,
such a strong debut that it's really hard to stack
mm.
against it.
Okay. So
Hope
let's. No, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
well, I hope it turns around. I feel like there's been a lot of comebacks lately, and I feel like I cannot keep track
Yes, there has
with
been
them.
so many. Like I've been trying to keep up with them too. You know, I'm old, so like I don't know who's the like
The
it
newbies.
groups, who's the
There's
it
like
solo people, but I try to keep up.
there's a new. I don't know if they're new. They might not be new, but there's one called DKB that
mm,
people are talking about. They have a
mm.
new single out still, which is like it's good. It's good.
Do you like
But yeah, I
Ace?
feel like they're. I'm
You like
sorry.
you like Ace?
Ace, they've been around for a while now.
They have, but I feel like they just really starting to pop for real. Cause like that last like comeback and like where they had Savage, like Savage that hit.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That was a whole bop. Like that still hits. So I feel like that kind of
Yeah.
like made them, and I could be wrong, but like I feel like maybe it gave them like more exposure. I feel like
Mm.
to global audiences. That's kind of like how I got into it through seeing
Mhm.
them like on YouTube and stuff. And like when Savage came out, I was like, oh snap, okay. So they put out the teasers for their comeback that is supposed to be coming out. Actually, I think
I
either
think it
came
might
out
be out.
today or
Yeah.
it came out tomorrow. They got like all V Lives out. That honestly, I don't really watch all of them. Like you know who's V Live, I be out. Yeah. But
I'm
yeah,
on all
so
these V Live channels, but I'm like I'm only devoted to one.
right. Only devoted to, heavily
Even like they
devoted to
got
one.
7 ones. Like
Yeah.
I pick and choose.
Same,
Watch.
same, same. All right, let's play a round of Bop or Flop.
Okay.
And if you didn't listen to it, it's okay. I have listened to all of these.
Okay.
So okay. Lady Gaga and Blackpink. Bop or Flop.
Oh, that's a tough one.
mm. Mm-hmm.
What's in between Bob and Flop?
I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not
It
gonna
might
tell
be a
you.
flop for me.
Or like
It's gonna be
be
a flop for
like a
me.
lukewarm. Like
Yeah, it's like a
what's
not
the
like a flop, but like a
right. Like what's the equivalent of a lukewarm like a lukewarm bop? It's just kind of like a tap. Like I don't know. Like
like a finger tap.
it might tap. It might scratch the
It's
surface,
right,
but
right, right. It
I can't
scratches
call
a
it a
little
bop.
bit, but
Okay.
it's definitely not a bop for
So
me.
we're gonna give them
If
in
it's
the
definitely
middle.
not a bop, then it's a flop.
Yeah, and it's like
It's
both
kind
of
of
them.
like, yeah.
Blackpink has some hits that got some bops, regardless of
I'm
how I
excited
feel
for
about them necessarily.
I'm
I do
excited for their
acknowledge
comeback.
them.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited for their comeback. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't expecting much, to be honest.
See, I feel like I had like higher expectations. And then when I heard it, I was like, that's all.
That's it. That's it.
I was
Yeah.
like, that's all. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Okay. Tiana Taylor's album.
Man, you know how long it's been since I listened to a Western artist.
So I'm gonna give that one a bop,
Okay.
because I really like Tiana Taylor.
I do like her too. I do
I
like
like
her
her
too.
voice, her swag, her style, her visuals. I think she's cool. I think she's really underrated. I'm gonna give that a bop. Pink Sweats, like I've been getting
I
into Pink
listen to Pink
Sweats.
Sweats if he's collabing with K.
Right, he has done like
Where's
several.
Crush? Where's Crush?
Yes, 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 yes.
But
I love that.
I do like him too.
That's a
So
classic.
he has new stuff out.
He does have new stuff out. I think he's
Uh-huh.
got two new singles out
Okay.
by himself, and then he also has a collaboration with, oh Lord, how you say the child's name? Galanticus. What's the child's name? You know who I'm talking about
I have no idea who you're
with the
talking about.
hair. You know, all these children got all these hairstyles. What's the child's name? Gal-
Galanta
Sam-
sounds like
Gal-
something.
and it's not even one person, it's a duo.
Oh, really?
Who is the child? Who is it? He has a song and it has a woman's voice on it, but I don't know if she's Galantis or the people who made the beats is Galantis. Basically, the song is and you know I really like Pink Sweats. I like his music, so I have very
Okay.
high standards when something comes out, and I was kind of like, I
Was
don't
it a
know.
flop?
I don't know. Like, I don't want to call
Was it a
anything Pink
tap? It was a
Sweats
scratch.
makes a flop. Like, I don't want to take it that far and say it is a flop, but I just
It's
don't know.
okay.
I don't know if it's
Sometimes
a
you
bop.
gotta get those out of your system to make
I
them
just don't.
pop.
I just don't know. Like, I'm just not sure. I'm just
Okay.
not sure yet. So we cheated. Um, Kehlani's new album. I'm not even really a Kehlani fan, but I really did
Oh,
like
really?
it. I liked this album. I think it's her. Um, from what I know about the type of music that she makes, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's like in her style, in her swag.
Yeah, she stays in her lane.
I like the single with Tory Lanez, and
I have to check this
yeah,
one
I
out.
like it. It's like easy listening. I also like the single that she has with Iron Ray, because I like him too.
Okay.
I'm in like kind of like binging like his music and stuff. Like he should come out with some more stuff. I think he's underrated as well. Um, and
I'm
then
gonna add
the
this one
last
too.
one, Crush and Joy, Mayday. What do
That
you
was a
think about
bop.
that one? I think that one was a bop too, and I think the
That was a
video was
bop.
really funny and
That's
cute.
really cute.
Yeah,
That's on my rotation
yeah, for sure, for sure.
too.
All right, so next round, what
Yeah.
you watching?
So this week, I finished Insecure and Mystic Pop-Up Bar,
Okay.
and I'm almost caught up with When My Love Blooms. That's the one with God Seven's Jin Young in it. Oh my God, it's so slow, but
Really?
it's slow. It's good, but it's slow. And I don't know if it's slow just because I'm like watching it. It's like weekly, so each episode is
Mm,
not like particularly a lot happening. So it feels like,
mm.
but I feel like they do that deliberately too. It's
Okay,
because like when my love blooms and like blooming doesn't just happen overnight.
that's true. That's also
So they
true.
kind of talk about going like in relationships going through the seasons and whatnot. So it might be intentional, but it also like puts me to sleep sometimes. Insecure though, did you watch the finale last weekend?
You know, I watched the.
I was teeing it up for you.
Yeah, of course I
What did
did.
you think
So
about the finale?
I
Spoiler? Should we put a spoiler alert?
no, 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 no.
No, no.
I'm not gonna do any spoilers. All I'm gonna say is if you don't watch Insecure, you should because it's a
It's
lot.
so beautifully done.
Yes, it is. It is awesome.
That's
Like,
beautifully
but I
done.
will say though, like I fully acknowledge that I am the target audience. Like, imperfect, messy black girls just trying to be great and like trying to live in a world and like be secure in themselves and have meaningful relationships
I
and
mean, I think that
jobs and stuff
translates
like
to a
that.
lot of different people. Like, there's something inherently
Yeah.
relatable about that.
Yeah.
Like, which is why everyone loves Issa.
Mhm.
It's like
I think
she's
if
super
you
relatable.
absolutely, and like if you like messy K dramas where like the female protagonist is like
Right.
quirky
Get
and
your life together.
problematic, like girl, get your life together. Like Insecure is right up your alley.
She was great this season, and like I really liked the full arc and circle that they kind of did
Mm.
this particular season. And what I really enjoy about Insecure is just like the subtleties,
Mm-hmm.
like the jokes and the comedy is very in your face and very like
Mm-hmm.
belly hurt kind of laughter. But I
Mm.
feel like the relationships, the dynamics, the issues that come up, like I feel like there's subtleties in it that is really awesome
Mm.
that to have on a show that's only like 30-40 minutes long.
Yeah,
So, you know.
the episodes are not that long, which is great for millennial attention span
Mm,
because it just
true.
is what it is. But yeah, I recommend Secure. I also
Yeah.
did get around to watching Yvonne Orji's
Oh yeah.
HBO
Stand
special.
up. Yes.
I did watch it,
And
and I
verdict.
I thought it was funny. I think she did a good job, but if I'm being like 100, I will say that it is not the gut busting humor that kind of thought it would be.
I didn't know she did stand up.
Yeah, I was like, it's not the gut busting humor that I thought it would be, but I also think that it's her. Like,
Mm,
it's her style, is her story. And I did enjoy like the backdrop of like not to do any plot spoilers, but some of the backdrop for the special is that she travels to Nigeria, visits her parents, and you see her like on the street at the market talking to people,
yeah.
like interviewing people on the street for directions, and it's kind of like that natural like reality show type of humor. I would love to see her do reality show or something like that. But as far as like HBO stand up, I'm not exactly sure. And I know
It,
it's probably foul and probably inappropriate to compare two black women, but I'm about to do it anyway. I feel like Amanda Seal's special was
mm,
funnier.
okay.
And
I feel like those are
I don't
two
know.
very different people
Yeah,
too,
they're
and
very different. Yeah,
I think
that's
like
true.
for me it would be hard to watch either of those and not put them in the context of Insecure.
Yeah, because their characters are like long standing on
Yeah,
Insecure
like
and like
you feel you
yeah.
see their face and you think of them as one
Mm-hmm.
way, and I'm sure this was their way of kind of making sure people knew who they were outside of Issa's world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, like I had a feeling that Yvonne's stand up was going to kind of feel different because you got she was such a main character, especially this season. Um, that yeah, sometimes my brain can't
Mm-hmm.
differentiate the
Like
actor between very starkly different kinds of like art.
yeah, yeah. It's like sometimes when you play a role so well, like you get stuck
Right.
being that person
Like
forever. Like
Tiffany Haddish, like she plays different characters, but you kind of feel like, yeah, that's Tiffany
right.
Haddish.
But then you have people who are good actors who get stuck. Like Jaleel White will
Yeah,
always be Steve Urkel. Like
for
he
sure,
will
for
not
sure.
ever not be Steve Urkel. Like
Right.
Lawrence Fishburne is gonna be Ike Turner. He gonna be Ike Turner. He gonna be He gonna be Morpheus. He's like two people. He's either Ike
That's it.
Turner or
That's it.
Morpheus.
Right.
Like I don't know. And it's like I don't want like Issa and Molly and Tiffany to be like how Issa, Yvonne, and Amanda sort of like get defined forever. You know what I mean? So
I really liked Amanda's character this season. And
mm,
like the awesome thing about this season was like she barely shows up.
yeah.
She barely shows up, and yet she made like such a huge impact
Yeah.
this
Her
season.
character was definitely
The
uh
catalyst.
I think it was a good addition to like her character development and how she played out in the friend group. I think was definitely a helpful plot point. So
Yeah.
excited to see what the next season is going to look like, and also the bomb that was dropped at the very
Yeah.
end of that last episode. Yeah, I'm very curious about the direction that they're going to take. Also, I loved the show within the show. So
Yes.
looking for Latoya, like pure comedy, but also super relevant, like a
Right.
very relevant issue. Like,
It's those, I feel like those subtle things that
mm-hmm,
they add that is so interesting
mm-hmm.
to
It's
me.
like it's surrealism. It's surrealism, but it also is extremely relevant and like
Right.
also funny too. And it's hard to like make all those three things happen at the same
I
time.
feel like Atlanta had
Yes,
elements of that too.
yes. So
Yeah.
like Atlanta, Insecure, Oh No, Jerome, um, Random Acts of Flyness, Sherman Showcase, Black Lady Sketch Show, Astronomy Club, like all of these projects from like millennial black comedians are really kind of creating a sort of interesting genre
Mm-hmm.
of like comedy and rom-com and fiction on TV,
And dramedy.
and dramedy, right, for black folks. And like I just think it's really interesting. Like yeah,
It's the
it's
new
like
Black Renaissance.
and it's evident like surrealism and black surrealism, Afrofuturism, and also black history and hard lessons from black history are like
Mm-hmm.
very evident in these projects. And it's really cool, it's exciting to watch. And like the fact that I am the target audience for at least 8 shows is nice. You know what I mean? It's
It's
like
nice to have something for you.
black nerds sort of being the target audience, black nerd girls sort of being like normalized and being like romantic interest and being complex characters,
Yeah,
and not necessarily stereotypes is really cool and really interesting to watch. But
I agree.
I think one of the things I'm interested in watching soon, because I'm a foodie and I love cooking and I
Mm.
love uh, like travel cooking and travel TV and all that. Padma Lakshmi has a special on Hulu. And
I didn't know that actually.
yeah. I think it either just came out today or it's coming out this weekend.
She's
And
so badass.
yeah, she is like she's something else. She's very interesting, and so I'm interested in checking out her Hulu special. So that and Mystic Pop Up Bar are like the two things that I'm pretty much on
Ooh,
right now.
finale is gonna be this week, I think.
Is it really?
2 episodes left, and I
Oh
think
my
it
god.
is gonna be Wednesday and Thursday.
Are they really gonna do us like that?
That's
Cause
why I'm like,
that will only be to like what 12 episodes?
I think it's more than that.
Really? I thought there's only been like 10 episodes
I
so
feel like
far.
there's been a little bit more than that.
Ah, they gonna give us the Sweet 16.
Yeah,
Ah,
let me
man,
check.
we'll see. But yeah, I'm
Oh,
really
oh yeah, you're right. We were on episode 10, so episode 12.
yeah.
That's
I'm
it.
like, come on, at least give us a Sweet 16. You got to give us a Sweet 16.
I think because the plot I feel like is nearing an end. Like it like her
Mm,
reaching like the amount of grudges she has to like solve. Like she's kind of almost there.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah.
who knows? Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? You know, some of these shows are like
I wonder if
notorious for
they're
taking an interesting turn.
this one I actually have no clue if they're going to do like a second season
Mm,
or they're gonna just cut it off cleanly.
mm-hmm.
Because I
I
feel like
think.
they have the bandwidth to
Mm,
cut
mm,
it off cleanly in 2 episodes.
mm,
Um, I just don't know if they will or not.
mm. I think if they give us a Sweet 16, they definitely can wrap it up clearly. But if they want to cut us off at 12 episodes, like, I don't know.
I feel like because
I don't
technically
know.
it has two more people to solve, and I feel like those last two are going to be people that are actually close to her
Mm,
and not like random people.
okay. Okay.
And so I feel like it will kind of wrap up. It could kind of wrap up the plot because I think they've already been dropping a lot of hints.
Yeah, they have been. It does feel like it's starting to wrap up.
So
Yeah,
we'll
so
see. We'll
yeah,
see.
I'm excited about that. So speaking of wrap ups, Festa is wrapping up and
Yes.
they came out. So for people who are not BTS Army, such as ourselves, BTS Festa in celebration of their like anniversary as a group had like a couple different things that they did,
It's a
including
whole thing. It's a
yeah, it's
whole
a
like
whole thing, a whole
month
situation.
long festival.
It's like exactly. It's funny that they call it Festa. It's cute. But they had the Bang Bang Con live. It was like a streamed concert that they did in the
Man, I was
studio.
so tired that morning.
Yes, I was up. I was energized after that. I feel like it took me 2 or 3 hours to go to bed.
That was kind of your first concert, no?
Yeah, it was like my
Even
first
though
like
it was virtual,
right, the
but
first
like
thing that I
live.
watched live. Right, right, right. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. I do wish that they would have done like
More
a
of their
couple
new
more
stuff.
like no, actually more of their old stuff. But
They
I
they did some old stuff that I was not prepared for. I was just like,
they
oh my god,
did.
I can't believe like
They did. But
they
I
did.
also feel like some of their songs, a lot of their songs that like other people don't feel like are their best songs are the ones I tend to like.
Like which
So
ones? Like which ones?
I don't know. Like if you look at my whole like BTS essentials playlist,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
it's not the same songs that other like that the charts support is their best music.
I mean, their
Like
discography is so wide though.
yes,
No.
like if I ruled the world, coffee, like Miss Right,
Oh,
Converse
Converse.
High, like
I
no,
don't think they're gonna be doing Converse High anytime
it's
soon.
like that's their straight up like old stuff, like Dimple,
I feel like you
Love
like no
Maze, like
Simple they've done in concerts live
yeah.
before.
Uh, but yeah, so
Yeah, they're probably not gonna do any of those
yeah.
anytime soon.
Oh, I'll listen to whatever they're coming out with.
I was really happy that they did Spring Day though. Like they did it for the YouTube Year 2020
Yep.
celebration, which was really, really cool. I
Mm-hmm.
really thought they were gonna do more of their new stuff, like on
Mm.
or like, and but then like in my brain, I'm like, oh right, like you probably can't have 50 dancers right now on stage with you.
True.
But yeah,
What do you think about their song "Stay Golden" that they came out with?
oh, I think it's actually Stay Gold,
Or sorry,
but same concept.
y'all know what I mean. Stay gold, stay golden.
I like it. I like it a
I
lot.
think it's
I
sweet.
do. I do like their Japanese like songs in general. Like
Mm.
they, this one felt a little like different, and I don't know the messaging also. They've been so. What's the word I'm looking for? They tend to be on the emotional side, and they tend
Mm-hmm.
to like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like cuddle us in
Mm-hmm.
ways and like coddle us in a way.
Does it feel like it's accelerating though? Because I kind of feel like, yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
you're worrying me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
yeah.
like, what y'all saying to us
There, I feel like I just can't. I all of a sudden I was listening to it in the shower,
right
and all of a sudden I had this imagery of like there's picters of like Jin like at the airport, kind of like those big old shoulders and his sweatshirt, and he has like his little handbag, and he's just like all of a sudden I saw him in like a military outfit and like kind of.
like, yeah, it's crazy though. Like, this
And I
is,
started wondering like
yeah.
what is he gonna do like because most of these idols when they go to the military like sometimes they perform there as well.
Mm,
And then I'm like, Jid, you can't like what are you gonna perform by yourself like in the
yeah,
military?
yeah, true.
And like he
Yeah,
could perform his like own songs,
yeah,
but like they're all sad.
yeah.
They're not gonna hype up the military with like the Jin solos.
What
So
about the theory that they're all gonna go in together, or that the Hyung line will all go in together? So,
man, I also don't because they I feel like they're gonna split them up anyway. Like if they
mm-hmm,
did do that, it would have.
mm-hmm,
I feel like they would kind of have to, but
mm. Yeah, I don't
I
know
don't know.
what's gonna happen. All I know is it's worrying me just a tad. And like, here's the thing: like, the greats have gone through this. Like the K-pop groups who sort of like
Yeah,
survived the shelf life or the tenure of an idol group, like Super Junior's been doing it for hellas, like
right, right.
Shiny, like
Big
some
Bang,
others, Big Bang, like where they've gone through military and trying to figure out like who
what
they are
life looks
now,
like.
still
Yeah,
making decent music, still have a ton of fans. Like
right,
the other groups, the OGs have gone through this already. And like
right.
if BTS wants to be OG status, like the army has to support them through this. And
Yeah,
so we'll see. Like I think it'll be fine. It's just it does feel like a lot of their stuff is starting to get more and more like sentimental, and I'm like,
right.
and
Sentimental. That was the
yeah,
word.
sentimental.
That was the
Like
fucking word.
their birthday, their birthday celebration when they were talking and like they were
Oh my
answering those
gosh.
questions. I was like, oh my god, it looks like they about to cry. Like
No,
it was a moment where like it looked like J
why
Hope was
can't they
about
just
to
do
cry. I
more
was like,
games?
stop it. You oh my I it makes me so sad when they cry. I'm like, y'all stop making them cry. But the thing that killed me though was when somebody was like, what's something that you want to do with the other members like 20 years from now? And Taeyong was like, I want to see y'all kids. And like, no, it was like, what do you want to do with the other members? He said, I want to see y'all kids. He didn't say 20 years from now at first. He said, what do y'all want to do with the other members? He said, I want to see y'all kids. And RM and J Hope's
J-Hope.
reaction was priceless. I was like, oh, I'm like, y'all telling on yourselves. And of course, like,
Jen
and
steps in.
Jen rarely uses his big brother card, but he had to step in that moment because like Namjoon was like not holding it together in that second. Like they look like they got caught. Like
It was like
we know y'all dating right now. We know y'all kicking it with people,
it
letting it
was like
all
Jen
hang
was like
out.
saying, "Oh, what he mean was like 20 years from now," and Taeyang was like,
Exactly.
"No, I didn't."
Right. He never clarified. And you know Taeyong is messy. You know he messy. That's why we love him, because he messy and sassy. And he like, I want to see y'all kids. Like I ain't seen y'all
Well,
babies yet.
tomorrow is Father's Day.
Yes. So happy Father's Day to
Happy Father's Day.
all the idols who have secret children. Because we know it's some of y'all out there. We not gonna call y'all out by names, but do y'all thing or whatever. But so yeah, in addition to like I was saying about like the army like supporting them through stuff, the army has continued to support their decision to give $1 million to Black Lives Matter and the army
Unless in the
matched.
day, right?
Yes, they matched in a day, and some other
That's
celebrities
nuts.
who are also BTS fans, such as John Cena, also matched that
Oh no
donation.
way! I didn't know
Yes,
that.
yes, it came out that John Cena was like, "Look, if BTS giving their money, I'm giving my money too." And I
John
was like,
Cena
John Cena,
through and through.
he is
RE.
interesting. It is very, very
Yo,
interesting.
isn't it so weird that they have never met or like we don't have any like
Mm,
content of them
hmm.
like meeting?
Yeah, I think he said no. Yeah, I can't recall. Like, the internet never forgets. Like, somebody might be able to send it to us, like when they actually met. But he was talking about it on some talk show. But I just thought that was funny. He was like, "I'm gonna show up and match," and then Monster X dedicated their performance a couple days ago to Black Lives
Mm-hmm.
Matter,
It was
and
on like the time something, right? Like
yes,
time did
yes,
something.
yes, I thought that was interesting too. So over the past, it's only been like 2 weeks exactly since all of this is coming out, and some of the other like K-pop podcasts that are, you know, where the podcasters are Asian Americans or even like white K-pop podcasters have been having black folks on their show to talk about
Really?
these things. And
That's interesting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just a thing that has happened, and I think interesting. I think it's a good opportunity. And Kpopcast had folks from 106 in Seoul and oh my goodness, I'm like completely like messing up her name, but I'll link their podcast information to the end of this one. But basically, they've had podcasts about K-pop since as long as everybody else has, and they have a footing and followers and viewers as well. And so K-Popcast had them on there to talk about like, okay, so is it opportunistic that groups are coming out and giving these statements? Are they doing it the right way? Like, is this even relevant? Like, should K-pop fans be leading this? And like, I think they had a good conversation and they had a good discussion. um, One of the things that I respectfully disagree with the other podcasters on, particularly about the BTS donation, is that someone suggested, and this is all speculative, their opinion and also my opinion is speculative. Basically, they said that they felt that donation was Big Hit's donation, and that it was Big Hit's idea to just go ahead and throw money at the situation. And
Mm,
I feel like, knowing BTS like as a group and actually being a part of their fandom, and also knowing Big Hit, I disagree with that. I kind of feel like it was the opposite. Like, because if it was Big Hit, it would have said that it was Big Hit on behalf of all of their artists, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
why
Mm-hmm.
would it just be BTS if it
Right.
was all of Big Hit and all of their artists?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one reason. And then also the other reason is that I think BTS has had to learn some hard lessons about um how they talk about social issues, because people are always like criticizing them for having a message, which is interesting. um and so they're like, okay, we have this message and we want to support, the things that our fans care about all over the world. Like, we should say something, we have to say something. So I actually feel like it was the opposite, and that BTS and BTS staff probably had to convince Big Hit to do it.
Mm,
Either way, Big Hit was going to be fine. They didn't have to give
right.
money. And I know there's a couple people who've been tallying and kind of following like how many K artists have actually made statements and who's actually donated. And it's only like maybe 20 odd people, mostly individuals or solo people, who've given and made statements, and not whole groups. So um, I guess one of the questions that I have is like, should there be more? Should we even care? Like, how is this conversation once again like making Black issues about celebrities and not about Black people
Yeah,
itself. And
right.
like, you know, yeah. And also at the same time, like, how do we continue to hold our faves accountable, right?
Yeah, it's
So,
multifaceted for sure.
yeah. It's complicated. It's a very, very complicated topic, but I did like that episode, and I definitely respect all the OGs on the podcast, even though I disagree with their analysis about that particular point. I do think it would,
It's
yeah,
easy to get caught up in the details, of
definitely.
like, you know, why not 2 million, or and
Mm,
I feel like the same thing could be said about everyone at this point. Like,
mm-hmm,
celebrities are now like, what are you contributing
mm-hmm.
to
Yeah,
this chapter
yeah, and
right
it's
now?
it's centering the celebrities, and it's not centering the issue or
Did
the
you
people most
see
proximate.
Dave Chappelle's special?
I did not yet. I have that on my list, but no, I have
He
not
kind of
seen it
spoke
yet.
about it. So Dave Chappelle, for you guys that don't know, he put out a special, I think, sponsored. I don't know if sponsor is the right word. Whatever relationship he has. Netflix is the only like company funding his stuff, basically. Or maybe it's the only company that like he's actually like cashing checks from. um, so he actually did a special in his hometown, I think, um, during COVID. So like it was interesting to see like the first like lives. We'll call it a comedy special, but there was nothing really that funny about it. He didn't mean for it to be a comedy special. It was
Mm,
him just talking about everything happening. Um, and everyone was like sitting outside and like had their face masks on. So it was interesting to see like what comedy like stand up
mm,
events are gonna look like going forward.
mm-hmm,
But the title of it was 846, 847, and it was like the minute seconds that the officer had his knee on George Floyd, and so he kind of named it after that. It's also like he also said that it was the time of his birth, Dave Chappelle.
mm,
So he's
mm,
like which yeah, that one felt heavy. But basically, he called out Don Lemon, the
mm,
CNN correspondent, because at one point Don Lemon was like, "Where's Dave Chappelle? Like, why isn't he like talking and speaking out about this as a celebrity, as someone with a platform?"
mm-hmm.
And what Dave Chappelle said basically was like, "They don't need me right now. The streets are speaking for themselves. Like, people are out there like, what do they need me for?
Right.
Like anything that can be done, like everyone's doing. Like me, like I'm just a civilian. Like my stature, it's not going to add or um, diminish the work that other people are doing right now. So I thought it was a very candid take on,
Mm,
from a celebrity that
mm-hmm,
has a vested interest
mm-hmm,
as well. Probably more directly so than K-pop artists. And his point of view was, yeah, he can make monetary donations, but in terms of like doing the work, like um, there's nothing that he can do that necessarily other people aren't already doing. Not
mm,
to say that he's not doing his own thing, but he's like, why does the spotlight need to be on me
mm-hmm,
right now? Why can't you use spotlight the millions of people kind of gathering
mm-hmm,
to like move this forward?
mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I thought that was interesting. And I think it also depends on like for that particular artist, like who their base is. Like maybe for Dave Chappelle, like yeah, like people that enjoy Dave Chappelle probably lean in support of the movement, whereas K-pop artists, it might not be like their base might not be um, politically inclined,
Mm.
socially
So
inclined.
let's unpack that a little bit, because
Yeah.
it's just, it is really interesting, and ironic in some ways. And this is what some of the other podcasters were talking about on the Kpopcast episode, and also on their own independent shows the past couple weeks. Like the public reactions and support from K-pop fandoms have sort of united in some ways the past couple weeks to show their own interesting cocktail of support for Black Lives Matter. But like, the question is, do Black lives really matter though in K-pop? Because there is a lot of anti-Blackness in K-pop fandoms.
Mm.
Like, there's a ton of people, like Black artists, Black fans, Black tastemakers, and influencers who enjoy K-pop music, who are respectful, participators in aspects of Korean music that experience racism and horror stories, like from East Asian and white fans and consumers of K-pop. And it's like, yes, it's great at the surface level that there's cohesive acknowledgement or support of Black Lives Matter, but like, what are we going to do internally about the anti-Blackness in K-pop and like the erasure of contributions of Black artists and some of the cultural appropriation that happens, and just also the fact that like K-pop, like good K-pop, does not exist without the contributions of Black
Mm.
artists and like the inspiration that the K artists have gained and gotten from Black artists. Like, it's just true. It's just facts. But like, there are people that you can't tell them that. Like,
What is their rebuttal?
their rebuttal is like, well, K-pop is its own thing, and like, you know, they just don't have an analysis or don't have a care in the world about that fact. And like, they can blame that's just how things are. They can
Mm.
blame the terrible record companies, and like, yeah, that is true. Like SM, they stay scamming music. Like, they're a terrible record company. Like, they stay
Mm.
screwing over producers and their artists. There are Black artists who have not gotten paid for producing beats and stuff for different idol groups, and like even independent like solo projects, like Black artists who haven't been acknowledged or paid. And like, you know yeah, it's just, or given the runaround and all sorts of things. And it's like, yes, Black Lives Matter, and Black Lives Matter in K-pop too. And like, we also need to deal with that. Um, Even some of our faves like have done some problematic stuff in the past, and like, they've had to
Recently.
get dragged for it, and like, had to get dragged for it, and had to keep coming to the table and like trying to learn and trying to make it up to their fans. Like, one of the things that I will say is that like, a lot of these groups, these idols, are super young. They're like 16, 17 when they get in the game. And like,
With not a lot of exposure
yeah, you're like,
either.
yeah, and like, what 16, 17 year old like anywhere in the world has a deep analysis of systemic
Right.
racism and
Right.
colonialization and cultural appropriation? Like, not very many, period, right? And
Mm.
so sometimes it takes a while, and like, being educated and frankly getting dragged by your fans and getting
Mm-hmm.
dragged by naysayers for you to like improve your behavior. And like, but the thing is, like, is there enough artists that are actually correcting their behaviors after getting dragged? Like, are there enough record companies that are actually correcting their behaviors after they've put out apologies?
I mean, even if they do, right? So I guess like it's one thing to talk about the idols that they're the face of the product, but there's
Right,
also like a team of folks,
right.
behind them that support it, are very much responsible for it as well, like the producers and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And most of those producers have been in the game for a while, and for them, it's like, what's hot right now? What's selling? And
Mm-hmm.
they're not really thinking. Maybe they are, but
Mm-hmm.
most likely they're not thinking about the ethics behind it. And or even having the context to think about that there's ethics involved. I think for them it's like, okay, like I'm trying to feed my family, so let's make a bop. And I think like
Yeah.
to your point about like I think what's hard for people to understand when we talk about cultural appropriation, it's not just about like um, you know, a hairstyle or like just the clothes. I think why people um, why cultural appropriation hits home, why it's so hard to draw a line and be like, okay, this is appropriation, this is appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard because it's not cookie cutter. There's no
Mm.
bright line of like what's right and what's wrong. And I think and many times you just feel like it's wrong and you can't really define that. For me, anyways, like when I see, for instance, a good like we'll do like a reverse role
Mm-hmm. Mm.
because we're talking a lot about how not just K-pop, a lot of different genres kind of we'll call it borrowing, appropriating from Black music and Black inspirations. Like when Nicki Minaj does her whole like Chung-Li stuff,
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I'm just like,
There's some shit that black people gonna have to give back too. Like, where's the line? Like, there's some stuff we might have to give
and you know, like for
back
me,
too, right? But and
and it's not about like a trade off. Like okay, like you have this, and like we're not you know playing some weird game where it's like okay, you can appropriate this if we can appropriate this,
right, you get to, I get to.
right?
Right.
But don't cross like don't cross this line. So
Yeah.
like for me, like when artists are intentionally borrowing these themes and ideas, knowing that because it's going to sell, like
Mm.
that you're monetizing like
Right.
someone's heritage and
Right.
culture when historically they've been looked down upon
Right.
just feels weird. And you can't measure that. You can't be
Mm.
like, oh, this is the right amount of wrong for us to cancel someone.
Right. Right. Right.
It just doesn't work that way. Like
Mm.
you see it in every like aspect of society right now, like whether it's fashion, whether it's you know music, and a lot of times like I have a really hard time right now listening to companies um, sharing the mic or passing the mic, and like their intent is trying to like raise the like use their platform to have black voices be heard and like share black stories. I also have a really hard time accepting that those are their true intentions,
Yeah.
you know. And
That's
so
real. Yeah.
and we can go back and forth, right, like
Yeah.
about whether people are doing it for the right reasons or not.
Mm-hmm.
um, and we'll never really know. But I like doesn't matter about the impact, you
Right.
know, like that it makes. Like if people are seeing the impact of um, like Nicki Minaj when she dresses up that way, if she refers to herself as Chung-Li, why though? I
Mm.
don't get it. But like, is it raising awareness in terms of Asian heritage? No, it's pretty inaccurate. Chun-Li is not a real person,
It's a fictional character.
fictional
Uh,
character. Like,
mm.
um, and that as a people, she just it's very clear that she's lumping Asian as like a thing.
Mm.
You know, like
Mm-hmm.
Chun-Li was Chinese, I think. A lot of the stuff that she wears is a mix between Japanese and Chinese and like
Uh-huh.
all things in between. And when it becomes much like a costume, that's when it's like, okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're not
Yeah. That's the thing I'm saying. Like the C word, cultural appropriation, C word is tricky because, like you said, where there's capitalism,
that's
commodity,
another C word. Ooh, so
capital,
many C words.
listen, it's three C's. It's capital, it's commodity, and it's also culture. And like when you have the exchanges of those things and people are not aware of how it erases the contribution, another C,
Mm-hmm.
erases the contribution and ownership of the group who created it, I think that's when it's a problem and when people should be held accountable. I think that there are ways to like respectfully access and exchange culture and be in an
And
open
that's what
dialogue with culture.
art is,
That is
right?
that
Like,
is good and that is
mm-hmm.
fine. Like we've had some amazing music and amazing art and amazing culture that has come out of like groups sharing and being in open dialogue and creating their own
It's a
twists and
privilege
spins
too.
on it, right?
Yeah.
And it also is a privilege to be able to do that. And I know everybody listen to this is not BTS Army, but I'm gonna say like that's one of the things that I think is such a redemptive like quality about BTS is because
Yeah.
like when they first came out,
Ooh,
they was looking a
problematic.
hot mess. Like they was looking
Problematic.
sketchy. They
Whatever RM's perm was.
look, child, he had some faux locks. He had it all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they had the little gold chains, like everything. But also, when they got dragged for it, when they actually came to the States and had to do American Hustle Life and had to like meet black artists and be in a space where they actually were around like black and Latinx and Afro Latinx people, I think that helped open their perspective and also helped them become more comfortable with being authentic and
Yeah.
also recognizing the contributions of the owners of the cultures that they love so much because
Right.
they were different since 2016. Like I feel like
Yeah.
after 2016 I did not see BTS doing the types of appropriative acts and antics that they were doing before because I think they got it together and like
They
one of
found
the
their
things,
identity.
yeah, they found their own identity and they also learned that like if you're going to enjoy black cultures, Latinx cultures, Latin American cultures, you should credit and be in a dialogue with and be in a relationship with the owners.
And
I liked,
they've done
yeah,
it time and time again too when they
right,
collaborate with different
yes,
creators, not just artists, but like when they've collabed with a black choir, like a black church choir.
mm,
They've collabed with like Latin artists
mm-hmm,
and like bands, and they bring in everyone
mm-hmm.
in efforts of like one expanding. I don't know. Maybe I'm just speaking for them,
Right. It's
but
like
it's very.
we want to defend them because they are boys, right? But just throwing that out there as an
This
example
is what we
that
see. Like this is what we
right, right,
see.
right, right,
Like
right,
and
right.
they did a whole documentary about
A whole
them.
documentary about
And they
it.
weren't in it.
And they
Like
weren't in it.
they were showcasing like these other just as valuable artists that are behind so many of their hits to let their fan base know like it's not just the seven of us.
Right, right, right. And I thought that was cool. And I know there are other groups who have like kind of learned some of the like same lessons and trying to do more of the same things. And like I think that's what they should do.
Yeah,
And more than just the groups, I think that K-pop and C-pop and other like East Asian pop fandoms also have to learn some of the same things. Like if you talking about global issues right now and you're talking about Black Lives Matter from the safety of your house, you also have to go out into the world like with that own mentality and put your best foot forward as you're trying to interact with other people, also interacting with other people on the internet because the
right.
same people who are out here talking about Black Lives Matter and hashtag like K-pop believes Black Lives Matter are some of the same people who constantly attack Black K-pop fans for like little to nothing and like very sad and self-hating and ridiculous reasons. So one of the biggest examples of that, and like I know we've been talking for a while, but I think we should touch this
Let's
because
keep it
like
going. Yeah.
I think people should know where we stand on it. Like this idea about fetishizing the artists, right? Or fetishizing specifically Asian men and Asian artists in fan fiction, and smut writing. And as I said before, this is an adult show, so we'll be talking about some adult issues.
If you're
But
not ready, you just
listen,
we'll lose you. That's fine.
we blowing the top off of this one, okay? There are fans who are white, who are Asian American, who are East Asian, and even who are black, who attack black writers specifically for matching male characters with black women. It is okay for people to feel strongly about what they feel strongly about. I just also encourage people to think more critically about why they're using the certain words that they're using and how it applies differently to people based on their identity. So to me, fetishizing, you have to include a power analysis when you talk about it, because to me it is an unequal exchange of sexual gratification and commodity where there's sexual deviance implied. To me, that is the definition of fetishizing. And so an example of that would be, there is a man, like a white man who is 30 something, older, who decides that he has a thing for brown big butts. And he goes after black women and Brazilian chicks and Mexican women sexually, exploits them, doesn't want to date them, doesn't take them seriously, doesn't see them as viable mates to be romantic with or to marry or to have children with. That would be a fetish, because white people hold power socially, men hold power socially,
Mm-hmm.
and also people who are seen as thin or fit also hold power socially. And so, in that aspect, that white guy would be fetishizing those brown women for their body shape. My question is, how does that apply to two consenting people where the woman is black and is attracted to a consenting East Asian guy? Also, mind you, these are fictional stories, not real stories.
Right.
That it is implied that these grown consenting black women are sexually attracted to and romantically attracted to these Asian guys. And the artists who've written these stories are being called racist and being accused of fetishizing them. And it's like, I'm not exactly sure you all know what fetishizing means. Like, because somebody happens to find a person of another race attractive and sexually attractive and romantically attractive doesn't automatically make it fetishizing. And it's kind
Right.
of really sad that people have like tricked themselves into fake wokeness so hard
Yeah.
that like they can't even see that every definition doesn't apply to every scenario and
Right.
doesn't apply to every group of people. Could there be a situation where a black woman is fetishizing an Asian guy?
For
Absolutely.
sure.
An example, like I said, could be where there is a power exchange. Whenever a person is misusing their power for sexual deviance and commodity and gratification and not seeing that person as a viable and romantic partner, is fetishizing them, right? But to like insinuate that somehow a black woman is weird or strange or
Yeah.
kinky for finding Asian guys attractive is messed up, and something is wrong
Yeah.
with y'all. Like, it says how much you think about Asian male masculinity. It says how much you think about black women's femininity and what we can be attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like one more example about how like colonization and white supremacy, how it is done like a really, really deep, insidious trick on us
Yeah. Isn't it
globally.
crazy
Yeah.
how this little small microcosm of like just a fanfic you're able to, granted, I don't. I don't read fanfics.
I
I'm not
read
up,
them a lot.
let alone read the comments. So, I
Yeah.
can't say directly about like what some of the reactions are that you're speaking to.
And even mood boards, like where there are pictures.
Mm.
So like it'll be a picture of the people who are dating, right? So it's like a cute black girl, cute Asian guy, and you'll see a picture of like dinner, and you'll
Yeah,
see a picture of like something cute and something candles, and then even people have are comment on those kind of things, like this is weird, this is racist, are you fetishizing Asians? And it's like, wait a minute, y'all,
and it's
hold on
also
a
like
second.
these Asian men or even like these black women, like on the flip side, like they're also not yours to be like what you can or cannot happen
Mm,
to them. Like
mm,
by like don't mask something when it seems very clear that you feel like you have a stake and you have something to lose
mm-hmm,
in this, and they're not, you can't own them either.
mm-hmm.
Like,
Absolutely.
and like don't go down the route of like, if I can't have them, you can't have them, and especially you can't have them if you look this way.
Because you're
um,
weird for liking. Why do you like them? You must have a fetish.
yeah,
And it's like,
that's
wait
that's
a minute.
that's
Like,
deep rooted like xenophobia there.
and internalized racial oppression, because some of the
Yeah.
people who have brought up these comments are like East Asian women specifically, who have a problem with these black artists coupling um black women with Asian men, and like,
Yeah.
and in moments where like in the story they're descriptive of their faces or descriptive of their bodies, and I could see how that would feel uncomfortable to an Asian reader reading a writer describe facial features and describe like, lips and eyes and things like that,
Maybe
because
it just wasn't made for you.
that is a thing that like Asian people experience, like people thinking that they're exotic or whatever for their features, but like, and when you read these stories, that's not the point of the story.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you don't like the story, like if you think
It's
the story
okay.
is trash, that's fine, but like
X.
saying that the black writer is ignorant and racist and fetishizing and angry because they defend themselves, like, oh, okay, you don't want people to fetishize Asian bodies, but you're okay with stereotyping black women into being
Right.
ignorant, angry, illiterate, and
Right.
all and racist and all sorts of things. So like, social justice warriors wanting to have it both ways about how they discuss and how they put a value on how people choose to fictionally couple themselves, let alone like couple themselves in real life.
I
Like,
know. I was like, that's what my thought was what if you see
yeah,
this in real life, what are you gonna do?
yeah, yeah. Like, what y'all gonna do in real life if this happens in real life? And it could be argued that like that's a part of the reason why it doesn't happen in real life as much,
Mm-mm.
because people don't like to see black women and Asian men together. They just don't. Like, it doesn't look good on us for some reason. And there's all sorts of like data that people have tried to come out with to try to explain why, but like, it is a combination of anti-blackness. It is a combination of like um
Fragile Asian masculinity.
Asian masculinity standards, and like different standards of beauty, different standards of gender, and for some reason nobody can, it just can't compute in people's minds that like these particular groups would like
Yeah,
be
the
attracted
algorithm
to
doesn't
each other,
fit.
right? They don't want the algorithm to fit. It's not that the algorithm doesn't
Mm,
fit, it's just that white normative societies and colonized mind societies don't want them to fit.
right.
It's, and like, I'm not going to speak for you, and I'm not going to speak for you and Charles, but I'll just say like in my own family, like it's perfectly fine for the black men in our family to have Asian wives, and for the women to be Asian, but
That
like,
seems like a much more accepted and
yeah,
normal
yeah, but
dynamic.
it somehow still looks funny on like,
Right.
if the black women are with East Asian men, like bring home East Asian men, specifically Chinese, Japanese, and Korean.
I feel
Um,
like the I feel like there's history involved with that. like
Yeah.
in terms of wars and Black men serving in the military and going to a lot of, Asian countries. I feel like it's been accepted because of the situations that our history books have presented itself. But I also feel like there's a dynamic of um, the power dynamic that one assumes with a Black man versus like the submissive nature of an Asian woman. And they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That seems like the right coupling. Like that would be on par with what a man and a woman relationship ought to be, versus the converse, versus like we haven't even talked about um, not a hetero relationship, like
Right.
what would, what would the stance, like would a Black man and an Asian man be good on paper?
Questions we don't even
but
ask.
but like also like
Right.
already, like, do you already assume who's the top and who's the bottom?
Right. Like who's the dominant, who's the submissive? Like
But like, and also
we
like,
yeah,
why are
make
you in our
assumptions.
bedrooms? Why are you in
Okay, like, and especially if these are like fictional stories that people write just for themselves and just for their
mm-hmm.
friends and just for like their fandoms and their hobbies, like
Yeah, and
it
if they're not crossing any lines, like, otherwise, if that's really the only problem, it's not a problem.
it's just ironic to me, like the same people who are social justice warriors are like coming after people. Like it's kind of really sad.
And
And like I
plus,
said, fetishizing people, specifically K-pop artists, is something that really does happen. And I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm just saying that you have to really put it in context and to apply a power analysis when you start to talk about those things.
right,
Like, what power does the person initiating the relationship seek to gain? And also,
right,
you have to take sexual deviance into consideration as well, and to suggest that it is somehow sexually deviant for a Black woman to be attracted to an Asian man is sad and problematic, and like it's a distraction, and like something that
for
I
sure.
don't think that people who care about social justice should even be like getting themselves involved in.
Man, I feel like you hit it on the head when you're like this fake wokeness. Like, I feel like everyone, especially now, just feel like they're at this race of like who can be the most woke.
Yeah, people are like fake deep, fake woke all day. Never close your eyes. Woken all the time. Wokest is me. Woke almighty. Woke meter. Like, go to sleep. Y'all need to go back to sleep. I don't like y'all woke. Go back to sleep, seriously, because you're doing too much. You're doing the most. You're not applying a power analysis as you're trying to wrestle with some of these ideals and applying these ideals to every identity, and it's not helpful. Though I get
Yeah,
your intention, your impact is that you're also policing and putting down other
right.
people, the global majority, and upholding oppressive systems and oppressive cultural ideas. And I mean, and that's just it.
For sure.
But since we talking about fetishizing, I will also say this: I'm not caping for all Asian dudes, because there are Asian dudes who are what the Koreans call sticky, like straight up trash, like who really do, as I
Trashy men come in
said,
all forms.
trashy men come in all forms, and there are East Asian dudes who are out here on the prowl right now. One Nation, WON Nation, the three rappers who have had a whole like social media underground recruiting teenage girls and like making them send them nudes and like doing sexual acts and like talking bad about their skin color and talking bad about their hairstyles and like, well, if you put on makeup and if you lighten yourself up, maybe I'll fuck you then. Or like telling them, some of them who they don't think are pretty enough, comparing them to gorillas, comparing them to monkeys, but then telling other ones that they're pretty and that they're fuckable and like all this type of stuff. That is
Man,
fetishizing, right? Because like I
Yeah.
said, there's a power analysis. These guys are successful, they're
They're your
rappers, they have a
fans. These are their
platform,
fans.
and they're misusing their power against teenagers who are young people who can't
Impressionable.
really consent to what's going on. Even if they think they can't
Right.
really consent to what's going on because of their age. Also, they're young people, and like a whole bunch of other things. And so I think, like I said, we should always be considerate about how we use certain terms. And like, they are definitely
Right.
fetishizing. And like,
Right.
that's just real. So I'm not caping for all of them. Don't get me wrong. All I'm saying is we do have to be fair, and we got to use a power analysis when we start talking about these things.
That shit was disgusting.
Yeah. Like, there's several exposes. Like, I hate to call it an expose, but like there's several like YouTubers and people
Don't you
on
feel
Twitter
like,
who have like blown them up for like what
look,
they've been doing.
I am all for idols having to live their life, needing to get some, get it in where they can. It doesn't it seem like when it comes to like scandals, it's like either nothing or like the extreme.
The
Like
extreme.
this. Like they're like on these group chats, like exchanging it's always like minors, like there's just like it's criminal versus like nothing. Like there's no like great like why couldn't they just like be with whoever they wanted to be on a nice walk? They're just at a date and like by the
Mm-hmm.
hot by the river. Like why can't it just be a normal relationship? No, no, it
Mm-hmm.
can't. Yeah, man, I don't know. That's kind of like the first thought that came to my mind. I was just like, why can't it just be like someone slipped into their DMs and like they lived happily ever after?
Yeah, and they're of age, and it is consensual,
Right,
and
right.
like, if
Yeah.
only it was that simple.
And like these girls are probably just like, I want to be able to say I have like I hooked up with an idol or like I have an idol boyfriend and like I don't know, man. It's
Yeah, or somebody that they thought was cool and attractive that they looked up
right,
to.
and you they just like the fact that they can be taken advantage
Mm-hmm.
like that for just having one of those thoughts are very pure, like why wouldn't you want to put your idol on a pedestal or like someone that you really admire,
Mm.
and even when they treat you like shit like any other relationships you can't see it because you're so like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, minor or not minor definitely a problem, but even if they weren't it's just like
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Not just the part about them being minors, but just everything else that we said too, for sure.
and I guess that to the listeners out there, if you're like didn't think about all of this, which and it's not I I don't want it to feel like what I feel like what people tend to do when they hear something new is like they tend to shut down and like kind of proceed their merry way and pretend like they didn't hear what they just heard or like
Mm.
unwilling to change their opinion or learn about it. Like when we talk about like fake wokeness, you don't really get to the finish line. You don't like when you're
Right.
working towards like justice or like
Mm-hmm.
social justices, like it's not like all of a sudden you feel like you've done all the work and like all of a sudden like yeah I'm woke. Like it doesn't quite work that
Like,
way.
I'm woke. I'm done. I'm wide
I'm
awake.
done. Like I don't have to learn anymore. I know I get it. Like like it's a constant learning, unlearning, relearning
Mm.
process. And we're learning too. Like I'm learning every day, and like sometimes I don't have the language, the
Mm.
words to like support the things that I'm feeling. Um, but I'm still kind of navigative, like what feels right and what is wrong,
Mm.
just based on pure principle. And I don't know, like I hope like to those listening that you kind of still stay open, that even if everything that we said was against what you believed to be true, if you were the ones that also had those thoughts reading the smut, reading the fanfics, and perhaps you didn't have malice in your heart when you thought those things, but hopefully you're open enough to kind of accept these different perspectives um, from people that see it differently than you, and
Hmm.
that it can also be true. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully, like, I think one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this podcast, especially with you, is, you know, it's not like a self-righteous thing.
Mm.
Um, it's more of I just hope people become more open to different opinions and perspectives, and like we can enjoy all these things and still be critical of it, and
Absolutely. Right.
still want it to be better, with also knowing that it will never be 100%. We can always still bring things to light, talk
Mm-hmm.
about these issues, and like hopefully, you know, progress happens in these very micro ways.
Mm.
Instead of the $1 million donations, like that, in many ways, talking about this, even if it's to listeners, even if it's just our significant others, like listening to this, like,
Mm.
um, just in pushing this energy out into the universe, I feel like is revolution within itself.
Mm. Snap, snaps. The revolution will not be televised. It will be podcasted.
It will be podcasted.
Meow.
It'll be on Spotify and YouTube.
Meow. On YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts for the culture.
Subscribe.
Subscribe, like, subscribe. But yeah, we've been talking to ourselves about this stuff, me and you, for like how
Yeah.
many years? I was like, we should just hit record one day
Just put it out in the universe,
and see what happens.
and see what the energy, what it does.
Absolutely. So, what's something that you're looking forward to over the next couple of days, over the next couple of weeks before I let you go?
Oh man. I don't know, this mystic pop-up.
Yes.
For
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
I'm really curious on how it's gonna end. I've really enjoyed
Mm.
this series. But I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to whatever is happening right now in the world, the push and pull, the resistance, the non-resistance. I'm looking forward to seeing all the different actions that are taken, that have been taken, have been great. And I don't want to, you know, there are days where I feel like just a watcher,
Mm.
sidelines, and then there are some real moments that I feel like I'm deep in the funk in it.
Mm.
Um, Whether that's talking with people or doing this podcast or like teaching my kid,
No.
all those things. I I'm just looking forward to like the one foot at a time, going in the direction that I know is right, whatever that looks like. I need to get back to my digital art again. I've been slacking so much. I like picked up this iPad thinking, man, I'm gonna do more digital art, and like I was going strong for 2 weeks, and then I think it was right around like when George Floyd happened. I felt like everything just sucked the energy
Yeah.
out of me. Um, but this weekend I was like, I need to get back at it again. I feel rejuvenated. I feel like I've been filled up. Whether
Mm.
that's through rest, whether that's looking at all the positive things that people have been doing, and have done and continue to do, that I'm all of a sudden I feel a little bit more inspired again. So
Nice.
that's what I'm looking forward to. What about you?
I don't know how do I speak after that? That was such a perfect like
Oh, my bad.
wrap up. Like the way that you wrapped it up is like there's no other way for me to wrap that up. Other than yeah, I'm still on a boost from Juneteenth recognition, and creating new traditions with my family, and just really like leaning into this idea of being okay with knowing who I am, and also knowing that it is never too late to learn and to grow and to get better and to continue to like practice what I believe in, to hold myself to the same standards that I try to hold other people to, like professionally and socially. And it's like I was saying to you, I don't know if this was the first episode or just like our random conversations that we have, that like one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, and also why I really love like K-pop and C-pop and K-dramas and other like cultures. Like I also love Spanish music and like Latin American music and novellas and things like that. Like because it was almost like a form of escapism, but like knowing what I know in my identity, there's nowhere to escape. And so it's also okay that like I have my hobbies, and that I also still have a critical analysis, and that I can figure out how to hold the truths about the gaps and the injustices globally in systems, but that I can also still really enjoy art, and to have faith in artists, and to have faith in fans and other people, that like when we continue to stay in the conversation and continue to listen to each other, that things can really change and that things can really happen. So that's more than a week's worth of work, but like
Yeah.
that's something that I'm really like hoping for, and I'm really looking forward to. So
Yeah. We should dive more into that and the things that we watch and the
mm,
music videos too. I've really
yeah,
enjoyed that part of it. Like
episode
we'll
3.
episode 3 we'll dissect something. Maybe we'll dissect like Mr. Pop-Up Bar.
Yes, I have so much to say about Mystic Pop-Up Bar. Like
Yes.
I had no idea I was going to enjoy that show this much. So
Maybe we'll have a spoiler episode.
maybe episode 3 will definitely touch Mystic Pop-Up Bar and some other things, but we've been talking for like 90 minutes or so, I think. So we'll probably like mic drop right here and say peace out to y'all until
We
next
should
time.
we'll figure out a proper sign off saying too maybe.
Stay gold.
Stay gold. No, we should say stay golden.
Right, stay golden.
Stay
Right.
golden.
Stay golden.
Stay golden quirks.
Trademark.
Right.
Twerk quirks. Okay, not for real though. Okay. Thank you all for listening. Bye y'all.
Bye.